Okay, so we have our 3D printed piece here, our prototype piece. Now, I do have a little bit of bad news. I did this all off camera already. And it's nothing too major here. So first I'm gonna tuck these wires down really quick here. And you can see that our base plate fits like perfect. Our base plate fits perfect in terms of the gap there. And I think we need to make it just a hair bigger. And the reason why that is that if we make it a hair bigger, we can just kind of like do a press fit here on the base. So I think if we increase it like 0.5 millimeter all the way around, or at least just the sides, like this side and this side, we should be able to just kind of press fit this guy down. Because like I said, the last thing we want is when he's driving for it to do this number here. The next thing is that what I did not account for is the stupid gauge itself. So the gauge itself has like a slight rise here over the face, and I've actually already broken our 3D print, unfortunately. I was hoping that I would have enough space to kind of massage it. So let me get this pulled in here, and so you guys can see it for yourselves. And this is essentially what happens. So because this little bezel here sits basically right against this, we can't really get it to fit. See it? So I tried to jam it in there, knowing that I wouldn't have enough space, and I ended up cracking it a little bit. So not a big deal. Kind of sucks because I was hoping this would be good, but you know, it's part of this type of thing. Now the next thing is with the Cortex itself. So Cortex was actually designed to be a little bit loose, okay? And here's why. And the reason is that because my initial thought was I was going to be able to take the hoses and kind of route them around this way. So with the Cortex pushed over completely to one side, I was hoping to be able to run the hoses through here and drill a hole, have a hole made on through here. That way I could feed the wires through the hole. So originally I was just gonna drill that. The next thing though, is that the Cortex logo, this was designed to be double side tape, by the way. So I'm gonna raise the bed a little bit. That way we can just have the Cortex logo here. And I'm going to get rid of the screw hole here because it just doesn't look pretty. Originally, I was thinking that I could get a longer screw to kind of unscrew it and then screw it in so it secures in place. But I decided we're just going to double side tape it, and then that'll be that. So, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't pan out like what we thought about. So we got the boost control set up, kind of. It's just kind of sitting right here. I've got it zip tied to this harness right here. I don't know if that's going to be the end spot there. I think we're going to leave that as is, but I'm just not really too happy about how close these hoses are down here next to the belt here. We're probably gonna have to do some routing, check out the routing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip tie it for now to see. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to zip tie it now to the AC line over here and see if we can keep it from moving. I'll see if we can reroute this a little bit though, but I'm just not too thrilled about where we can put this at. So the hoses are currently pretty long, I think, and hopefully that will give us a little bit of adjustability down the line once we figure out where this all needs to go. I haven't actually fully read the software here, to be frank with you guys, for the Cortex stuff. So I'm gonna go brush up on that before I start doing anything crazy. I did find out that it does have like a boost limiter on it. And the boost limiter, I'm pretty sure, is just gonna cut the wastegate duty cycle to wastegate pressure, which works out pretty good too. I really like that rather than having a hard cut, because what'll happen, I believe anyways, what happens is that, you know, if your boost target is say 20 for instance, and you hit 21, it should just drop the wastegate duty to 0, and then you should get like, you know, whatever wastegate is. And on this car it's 11.5, I think. So
But yeah, so hardware wise, it's basically hooked up. I'm going to kind of brush over the manual really quick here. And then if everything goes well, we'll be able to do at least 1 or 2 hits before the day's out. So we've made some changes for flex fuel over here. We're gonna have the EcuTech have a boost limiter as well, just to be on the safe side, since we haven't messed with the Cortex stuff just yet. So I have it set at 16 psi essentially. 16 psi is what we should be targeting, and then we actually have our boost cut at like 17 psi. So we have our boost cut at 120 kPa, which works out to 17.5 psi is where we're at. I do also have the failsafe set up here as well, so if it exceeds 15 psi, it should drop the duty cycle back down. So right now we have the wastegate duty cycle to add just 20% duty, and it shouldn't even make that much of a change. Now the wastegate spring is, I believe, 11.5 is what it sees. So we're at this point, we're adding 20% duty. Let's see what it nets us, and then we will be logging on both sides. So we'll log over here, and we're going to be logging on the EcuTech side, and hopefully everything works out pretty good. So all right, so we're not looking for power right now. We're just looking for boost control functionality. So what we've got here is that we're running 20% duty cycle all the way through. Right now we're in open loop. We're just trying to get this dialed in. We're trying to hit 15 psi. Right now I think our max was like 14. So we're getting more boost than where we were at before. So that's not uncommon here. That's obviously not uncommon here because we're turning it up. So we've added 30%, 10% more to give us a 30% total. So if you look here, so we've added 10% more duty onto this table here. So if you look on here on the left hand side, this is our ethanol content here. So E20 and below, which we're obviously at E10, it should only add 30% duty cycle. So I've already flashed that back on. We're gonna give that another shot. So that last run netted us about a peak of 14 psi here. What's really cool about this boost controller is that they have like a, it actually will close the wastegate duty. Oh, it'll close the boost controller. It'll add 100% duty to the boost controller until you see. I have it set for about 10 psi, I think, because the gate again opens at 11.5, and then once you cross that 10 psi threshold there, you'll see that the wastegate duty drops to 30%. That's what we're asking for it. And we were able to, according to the boost controller, we were able to get 14 pounds of boost out of it. As we get up into closer to the red line though, the boost starts to drop off, which is pretty common for internally wastegated cars. So we are in fact making more steam, but we're still not quite there yet. So I'm gonna add another 10% duty, and let's see what that's going to net us here. All right, we're gonna do, so we've turned up the duty up 10% now. So we're a total of 30% duty on the boost controller now. So we're gonna see what we net in terms of boost. All right, so as you guys saw, we got 14.5 psi here, and that's exactly what we were seeing on the Cortex side of it. And let's see here. So we saw that at 4,000 RPMs, and it started to drop off by 5,000 RPMs, which again, you know, internally wastegate type things. In terms of the ECU though, so there's a small discrepancy between the two. Let me double check here. So 4,000 RPMs on the money. is basically where we saw the most boost. So let's take a look at what we got here on the data log right at 4,000 RPMs. Okay, so 4,000 RPMs here has netted us exactly 199 kPa. So 199, or actually, let's just put 99 here. So it's pretty damn close. So 14.35, so close enough. So what we can do now is we can start fine tuning it now that we're getting pretty close in the ballpark here. What I'm going to do though is we're basically going to add another 5% to this bottom row here to put us at 45. And so what we'll do though is take a look at this log here, and we can see boost dipping off. Boost begins to dip off at basically 5,000 RPMs. It starts to taper down. 4,400 is when it starts tapering down. So if we were dead set on it, we can essentially add 5% overall. What we can, and anything above here, above the 4,500 mark, we can add more duty to it. So let me do that so you guys can see what the graph will look like. All right, so we've added 5% down below, and according to our logs, basically anything above 4,500 it dips. By the time that we get to red line, which is about 7,000 RPMs, we're down to 12.5 PSI. So 1 PSI more than where we were at before. I basically did the difference. So 12.5, our target is 15. It gave me an 18% difference. So I added 18% here by red line, and then I just tapered it to 4,000 RPMs to give us this nice looking curve down here. So this is our nice looking curve down here for this bottom row. So we're going to test that. I'm going to just double check that our failsafe is in fact on for overboost. Activate if your boost is greater than. Okay, so we're gonna set this up to 17.5. Actually, we'll set this to 16 PSI here because our goal is 15. So yeah, but that's basically about it. So if I have enough time, I'll give it another go and let's see what happens. So our boost setup is actually pretty close. So we're targeting 15. Again, this is open loop mode, so it just runs whatever duty cycle, but it's pretty damn close, right? The highest that I saw though was 15, I think 15.8 or so. Yep. So 15.8 was the highest that we saw, and it was running 50% duty cycle right at 5,000 RPMs. It started to taper off a little bit more, but I think that's good enough, really. So by red line, let's see where we're at by red line. By red line, we were seeing a solid 15.5 PSI or 14.5 PSI. So I would like to say that's close enough. That's within our what we want for our target. So I'm going to review over the log now, and we'll see what the log looks like. I think we did see AFRs looked pretty good, so let me review this and see what knock looked like. So looking at the log, we did see a bit of knock here. The knock did get pretty aggressive here. It took out 3 degrees of timing or so around the 5,000 RPM mark. Not really enough to scare me, but it is enough for me to push forward. You know what I mean? Where you know that this is a problem, you don't want to push any harder, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull a little bit more boost out of it. We'll flash on a map and then we'll test it first thing in the morning. Like I said, it is a little bit higher than we want, but by half a PSI or so. So I'm gonna look over this, make a couple changes here, and then we'll save it, and then we'll do another hit, and we'll go from there tomorrow. Overall though, I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. So just an idea though for you guys, right at 3,500 we started to hit boost pretty hard. So at, let's see here, 3,500 all the way up to 3,500 to 53. We'll pull a little bit of duty cycle out of that, and then we'll call it good. So I'll make those changes here. We'll flash it onto or we'll write it to the boost controller, and then we'll call it a day. So as I said before, we're not really looking for what the actual power is. We just want to be able to turn up the boost. But just to give you guys an idea, we are at 240, which is what we were at last time, and we're down quite a bit of power. And torque is actually up a little bit more, which doesn't surprise me really, just because we've been upping up the boost. The runs themselves look like complete shit, but tomorrow we should have a pretty solid run, and we can really judge it from there.